What is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're over here on the global side of the game for the Pirate Alliance KIZUNA Clash against the Mugiwara 56 BROOK character. So in today's video, we will be showcasing the two teams that I put together for this particular event, as well as showcasing the one team completes all against the KIZUNA Clash against BROOK. So before we jump in, we do have to get ourselves some tickets. So we are just going to quickly blitz our way through the preliminary versus Nami. I'll see you guys at level 1. Alright, so the first team against BROOK is the Psy variation, and I thought I'd start with the free-to-play teams. I did a little bit backwards in my actual prep video, and I think in my prep video I did recommend using a friend versus Whitebeard, but I did sort of goof a little bit, and Viola, Rebecca actually don't get their cooldowns, plus they only remove 3 turns of special blinds. Totally forgot that unit, like, he removes 5 turns, but only has 3 turns of Sailor. So you want to try and bring a friend Bonnie if you can. Bonnie's great because Bonnie's going to be your chain locker, as well as removing the special blind, as your captains don't actually get special blinded. Because we have Luffy and Boa, we can actually get the super typing as well, so just be mindful of that as well. On the first turn, you want to make sure you switch with both Boa, Luffy, as well as Kobe Helmeppo. That way you can guarantee yourself a Psy Orb on this particular stage against Luffy. Luffy has a 1 Psy Orb barrier, and he takes away all of your orbs. So what you want to do is you want to switch into Kobe. That way you guarantee yourself a Psy Orb. Then we're going to use the Kobe Helmeppo special for a 2x attack boost to our Psy and In characters, as well as switch with Viola Rebecca. Switching with Viola and Rebecca can actually give you matching, or not matching orbs, but like they randomize orbs through empty orbs. They were kind of built for Nami Robin, so they actually work really, really well here. So that way you can actually give yourself some orbs, and as long as you just get like 1 orb on someone with the attack boost, like you just do so much damage here that you can actually just tear your way through that Luffy stage and move on to the final stage against BROOK. Now against BROOK, he has all the immunities, but not full immunity, which is really nice because you can set the defense to 0. You can also bring something like Kaido to use double damage, but he does have 5 turns of resilience and gives us normal attacks only. We're going to use Bonnie to give ourselves a 2.5 times attack boost. We can also get a chain lock with Bonnie too. We have color affinity with Luffy and Boa. We have an orb boost with Whitebeard. And then we can actually get around the resilience as well as the bind after level 30 thanks to the Akainu special. So the free-to-play team actually worked really, really well. Has a lot of damage. I don't even use the super typing of Bonnie here, and we just sort of 2-tap. Alright, so looking at the pay-to-play team against BROOK and the Psy variation, we are utilizing double Whitebeard. The big reason I'm using double Whitebeard for this is Whitebeard's just really, really good. Not only as a captain, but he's boosted, so means he's going to be doing a lot of damage with that base stat boost. If you guys don't have Whitebeard, though, you can easily run Bonnie and then bring a friend Whitebeard. Like, that'll work absolutely fine. But ideally on turn 1, you want to make sure that you actually switch into Boa. I actually totally forgot to do that, and that's why I sort of stalled a turn there. Make sure you switch into Boa, because you do need to make sure you switch into Luffy. That way you give yourself the Psy Orb, and that way you can actually break the barrier. If you really want to as well, you can use the special of Halloween Law here as well. That way you get a bigger Orb boost on the next turn. But just switching with Luffy and then using one of the Whitebeard specials is going to give you more than enough damage to take out Luffy on this stage. We can take out his Psy or barrier literally just by hitting with Luffy first. We also have Barrier Pen with the likes of Law. You can even like use the Kid special here if you really want to as well, because Kid's going to actually give you 3 or 4 turns, I think it is, of that end of turn damage. So there is that as well. Moving on to BROOK now, he is immune to everything besides defense down, and this is where Bonnie's really, really nice, because you can actually set the defense to 0 as well. We can use the Bonnie special. Bonnie is going to remove the special blind that BROOK inflicts on us as well. We have color affinity with our Luffy and Boa, 2.25. We could have a 2.5 times orb boost with Law, but for this particular run, we only have a 2.25. We have a 2.5 times attack boost with Whitebeard, as well as a 1000 base stat boost to our Int characters. And finally, we can finish it off with Kid. Kid has end of turn damage, which is really, really nice. And with the supports of Corazon and Halloween Ace, like, we're going to get around the bind after turn 30 as well. So this team's not going to struggle at all. It's going to work really, really nicely, and should have a lot of damage. If you can find a support that can, like, give you a conditional against defense down, you can, like, increase the damage even more. But nevertheless, it's not going to have any issues. Alright, so moving on to the Int variation of BROOK now. This is the free-to-play team that I did put together, and as I sort of ran this, I sort of came into a premonition. Wow, words are hard. You don't actually need Shirahoshi on this particular team. I was relying on Garp to be my attack booster, but funny enough, you don't actually get the attack boost because Big Mom is driven in Powerhouse. She doesn't have both the tags like Cracker and Law as well as this Garp actually need. So you can easily replace Shirahoshi with another character that can just give you a better attack boost. Lucky for me, Zoro actually gives a 1.5 times attack boost, provided you don't have an attack boost. So this team actually worked very nicely anyway, but You can easily replace Shirahoshi if you don't have her, so don't stress. She's not essential at all. On stage 2, we come up against Zoro, who gives us the chain coefficient reduction. We can use the special of Big Mom to get a chain lock, as well as our Shanks special to give ourselves a nice chunky orb boost, as well as a base stat boost. And then we can tear our way through this particular stage. If you guys get lucky, or if you want to, you can actually farm up Psy Orbs, and you can easily get the conditional boost of Shanks. So this particular team has more damage if you sort of play it a little bit. I'm not going to say better, but like, if you play it right, this particular team actually has more damage. Make sure that you use the Shank special on turn 2, so that way you can get the defense set to 0 on this particular turn against BROOK. We already have an orb boost with Zoro. We removed the 5 turns of attack down with the Sabo special. We give color affinity as well. Zoro gives us an attack boost, but like I said, Shirahoshi you can just replace with another attack booster. And that's going to work absolutely hunky-dory as well. And basically with that, you are good to go. You could even replace Shirahoshi with like another character to like help you on turn 2, and then that way you could save the Shanks special for a base stat boost. You can do a whole bunch of stuff, especially if you get the Shanks like versatility as well. Like, you guys are going to be in good stead, and as you can see, that free-to-play team, it did not struggle one bit. But let's move on to the big damage team now, or that big old Quailing team, and let's see what the pay-to-play team can do. Alright, so on to the pay-to-play team now, utilizing both Verse Shanks as a sub and a friend captain. Very similar to Whitebeard, he's just boosted, so he's just going to do a lot of damage on this particular fight. But Roger is our main man, mainly because we can get the super typing from Roger. Shanks doesn't have a super type. He does have a very good versatility, which obviously you guys can actually farm up as well. If you eat all of these Psy Orbs on turn 1 and then use the Shanks special in the next turn, you can very easily get the versatility of Shanks. But that's not for like later down the track, so for the meantime, I'm just not going to worry about it. On stage 2, when we come up against Zoro, he is going to put up he's going to give us, the chain coefficient reduction. But it doesn't really matter, because it's like, we're just going to use one of our Verse Shanks specials. That's going to give us a nice chunky orb boost, as well as a base stat boost. And, like, as you can see here, like, Zoro is just going to melt. As you can see, like, if you just hit, like, your goods, like, you should be able to get 10 Psy Orbs very easily. And thanks to Ben Beckman, you can actually start with a full board of Psy Orbs as well. So, like I said, getting the versatility is going to be quite easy for Shanks, and because you can actually set the defense to 0 on the final stage against BROOK, it is going to work in your favor, so that way you can just do a lot of damage. Like, you can do a lot of damage. But, nevertheless, BROOK gives us 5 turns of attack down and a full board of bomb orbs. We can get around the attack down with our Rockstar special. We have a chain lock with Ben Beckman. We have an orb boost with Shanks and a base stat boost with Shanks. We have a very high attack boost with Roger. And we have a I think it's 2.5. Is it 2.5 or 2.25 with Enel? I can't remember. But you can replace Enel with Luffy Boa as well. That is another option for you guys if you're looking for a bit more of a free-to-play option for this particular team. Ben Beckman is basically just here for a chain lock and to help us get those Psy Orbs at the start. So he's also replaceable with another chain locker as well. You could probably use like Shanks crew on this particular team, so that way you get a 3.5 times chain lock if you don't have something like Verse Shanks. But the side team is not going to have any issues whatsoever. Like, as you can see, it does a lot of damage, and it's going to do a lot of damage moving forward for a very long time. Alright, so on to strength now. We're coming up against BROOK once again, utilizing the quick team. So this is the free-to-play team that I did put together for you guys, led by the Sea Monster. The Sea Monster is actually available right now. I would highly recommend farming up the Sea Monster. It's a very, very good free-to-play unit, and I would definitely get your hands on it. It has a very good captain ability, 3.5 times captain. There is no HP buff, though, so it might be in your best interest to look at another character that can give quick and HP in the captain ability. As remember, Zoro and the Nami and Usopp are actually replaceable on this team, but you do need a way to get the super typing of Luffy, so just be mindful of that as well. Once we hit stage 2, we come up against Sanji. He has 4 turns of threshold, and this is where the Sea Monster is so great. If you don't have the Sea Monster, you can just use the Zoro special, though. Like, Zoro will just remove the threshold too, but you also get an orb boost here, which means you can actually carry that into the next turn. You can make recovery orbs matching, thanks to the Sailor, I think, of Nami and Usopp, or it might be the Kuja Pirates, one of the two, but as long as you just have, like, 1 orb here, or, like, maybe 2, you are going to be in good stead. Remember, the Kuja Pirates actually, are boosted, so they do a lot of damage in this particular KIZUNA as well. On the final stage against BROOK, he's going to give us a full board of block orbs. He has full immunity, he puts up 5 turns of damage reduction. With, the special of Bullet and the Bonavista support, we can actually get around the block orbs and get color affinity. We have a big attack boost with Luffy, even though I stuff up and use the Boa Sisters special first. Unfortunately, the Boa Sisters is just here to remove the damage reduction, or the Kuja Pirates, I should say. They're just here to remove the damage reduction. We don't get their conditional, because we're not above the 50,000 threshold. If you maybe bring the the Oro Jackson, you might get more HP. and that'll clock you over. Otherwise, you could always bring like I said, swap your captain out for someone that can give HP as well, and that way you are going to do a little bit more damage. But this team works really, really well. It's going to have a lot of damage. It's not going to have any issues. Like I said, you can get more damage if you can get that Kuja conditional off as well. So it's going to work very, very nicely. Let's move on to the pay-to-play team now, and let's see how much damage we can do with like something like Sugar. On to the pay-to-play team now against the strength variation of Brook. We are utilizing Luffy as our captain. I decided to bring a friend versus Ace, man. This is just so we can get more damage. But if you guys are running this team, you can actually run like either the Frankie, the Brook, or the Robin. They're all 5 times captains to your free spirit class. So if you want more tickets, you can actually just easily run this. Sugar's not going to get boosted by them, but like it doesn't matter because like ideally you just start the chain with Sugar anyway, thanks to her bear mechanic. And that way like she's not doing too much damage anyway. But if you want like more damage per se and less tickets, Ace Sabo as a friend captain is going to be your best option because they're all so boosted. And with them being boosted, like they're going to pretty much be boosted to every single Kizuna, being a Kizuna legend. With them being boosted, it is just going to mean that you guys can just do a lot more damage because you have another very strong captain, 5 times captain, as well as a very, very powerful quick unit as well. So we're just going to use our Ace Sabo special here and remove the threshold with Usohachi. Usohachi's here just to get the conditional, sorry, not the conditional, the super typing of Luffy. That way we can get the chain boost as well. Make sure to switch into Sabo so that way you can switch into Ace on the final stage against Brook. With this team as well, with Ace Sabo as our captain, we actually have enough HP to get her over the 50,000 threshold. And that way we can actually get a conditional boost with the Kuja Pirates as well. The Kuja Pirates are great because they can remove the damage reduction and give us the conditional. But make sure you use the Luffy special first. That way you give yourself an attack boost. A bigger attack boost than what the Kuja Pirates would provide. You have an orb boost with Ace Sabo 2.5, as well as his whole team being free spirit. Besides, once again, Sugar. But again, Sugar's just here to abuse that chain mechanic that she's so renowned for. You can, I think I don't turn Usohachi into a bear here, but you can easily turn Usohachi into a bear. That way you just get more chain boost. But nevertheless, like, look how much damage we have, like, before we even attack with Luffy. Like, it's just absurd what this team's going to do. And whenever you can abuse Sugar in Kizuna, it's going to be a very, very good time. But we're going to wrap up the video with the one team beats all. And I actually have gone against every variation for you guys so you can suss this out. So let's dive into that. Alright, so the one team beats all looks a little bit like this. So we're coming up against Brook first. And if you can find a friend Usopp, it is actually going to help you guys out significantly. Usopp's really, really good for this particular fight because he can remove the resilience. He's very, very good at removing the resilience. And the big issue with the one team beats all team was actually finding a way of getting around that resilience. So for me, I had Treasure Map Garb. Treasure Map Garb's great because he can give us cooldowns. And with the Suru support, he can do end of turn damage. If you guys have something like Super Type Luffy, the new Final Tap Luffy, you could easily use him as your captain because his whole team is free spirit centric anyway. You could also run something like the Aura Jackson as your ship. That should work absolutely fine too. But the big reason I wanted to include Roger is because Roger can actually get his super typing thanks to Ace. And that way, when you have super effective against all types with the friend captain, you are just going to do more damage consistently with them. But nevertheless, the Luffy should work absolutely hunky-dory here as well. That way you can just replace the Garb with something that can do end of turn damage. If you have this Usopp, you can easily just bring the Usopp. And that's going to trigger the super typing of Luffy as well to give the cooldowns that you need. But you will have to find a way to get the super typing condition for Luffy. Otherwise, you're not going to have a way to get those cooldowns, and you are going to be in for a bad time. But every time you verse Sai, if you just use the Usopp as a friend captain, you will be fine. As you can see with Ace Sabo, we can easily get a Sai orb on the Luffy stage, or you can use the super typing of Roger. You have a lot of options there, and it's just going to work very, very nicely. Against Brook, he is immune to everything. He doesn't have full immunity. I think that's just so you can use defense down and stuff, because like Robin is a thing. But he also gives us 4 turns of special bind on our sailors. So we can remove that with Ace Sabo. We are going to switch with them first, so that way we get the color affinity. Then we are going to make sure we use our Roger special before we use our Garb special. That way we get a higher attack boost. We're going to switch with Vivi Rebecca. That's going to give us a chain lock. And with that, we're pretty much fine for like everything else. Like we don't really need too much else to like take these early stages down. But once things start to get a little bit trickier, we can start using... Well, that's pretty much all the buffs we need. We need to make sure that we use the Garb special, so that way we can remove the... or that way we get the end of turn damage. But like I said, if you guys bring Usopp, you can easily just use the Usopp special. Usopp's going to get around resilience. And Bob's your Uncle Hunky Dory. Brook is just going to absolutely melt. Sort of. This particular stage against Brook is actually like the hardest mainly because we don't have any other color affinity besides our friend captain. So this is where we're probably going to struggle the most. Once we get around that sort of like 50 mil mark, we are going to have to start looking at changing that. But I don't really plan on going that far anyway, and I don't think most people are, because they spent most of their potions on the co-op KIZUNA. But that was the side variation. Let's move on to the next variation now. Alright, so onto the int variation of BROOK now. Obviously, we are using the same team, and this particular team actually works best against the int variation because we have two Psy characters. Actually, yeah, it works the best because we can actually get the Bello Betty support. Now, the Bello Betty support is not essential for these teams, by the way. It just gives us more damage, which is a little bit cool, because we can just drastically reduce the defense. It's not like we need to remove the defense. It's just nice that we can remove the defense. Something that I forgot to mention too, you want to make sure that a Sabo is in your like middle left-hand spot. That way they can actually get around the bind for you. Otherwise, you're just going to be in for a little bit of a bad time there. But as you guys saw, I don't have supports on this team besides the like supports that actually do something. So you can actually get a little bit more damage output if you like bring certain supports and whatnot. If you can bring Robin for the first two, the Psy and the Int, you are going to get more damage because you can set the defense low and you can actually get a conditional boost as well. But Usopp's really, really good for the Psy variation because he can get around the resilience. But if you have the GUP and you're doing what I'm doing, you are going to be fine anyway. So try and bring a Robin if you can. This team has no issue getting around the chain coefficient reduction on stage 2 because we have Vivi Rebecca with their amazing switch ability. It all just works very, very nicely. Against BROOK, again, he doesn't have full immunity, but he's immune to basically everything. Besides defense down, I feel like that's just because of Robin, as well as Vershanks just being like an absolute weapon. We are going to use the Roger special for an attack buff. We got a color affinity buff with our Ace Sabo. You can also get more damage with Ace Sabo with their super switch as well. We can get the chain lock with Vivi and Rebecca. We have super typing with Roger here, so that way we can do a little bit more damage with our side characters. And with that, we just absolutely clap. So remember, Vivi's a free spirit as well when she's not in her dual form. So she's actually getting buffed under the boosted units as well. So the Psy team, or the int variation is not going to have any issues. Well, not for a very long time anyway. But let's move on to the final variation now, and let's wrap up the video. Alright, so the final variation is the strength variation, and once again, we are using the one team beats all. I just found a Frankie friend. It really doesn't matter who you use for this particular fight. I figured Frankie would be the best option because I feel like Robin was best for int, Usopp's best for the Psy, so Frankie's got to be best for the strength, right? Like, is that how it works? Whether or not that's how it works, it really doesn't matter too much, but Frankie's got a nice attack pattern as well, so it means you can actually take these turtles out a little bit easier as well. Actually, no, they've got 8 HP, never mind. Frankie's just, look, he's Frankie. He's just rocking out. He's probably the best of the three, though, in terms of moving forward. I actually really like the Usopp, now that I'm really thinking about it, but look, they're all pretty dookie characters. You're never really going to see too much play with them. But on Sanji, we're going to remove the 4 turns of Threshold with the Bobbin special. We can get a chain lock with our Vivi Rebecca. We have color affinity with our Ace Sabo switch. And because we're super effective against all types with our friend captain, we can just blow away the stage. No issues whatsoever. Moving on to the final stage now, the boss stage against BROOK. He has full immunity now, which is kind of annoying. But he puts up damage reduction. And he gives us a full board of block orb. So once again, we're going to switch with Ace Sabo so we get color affinity. Again, if you want to get the super switch for more damage, you can definitely do that. But for me, I really just couldn't be bothered. But that's just me. Unfortunately, the Bello Betty support doesn't work here because there is full immunity, but we can get a chain lock with Vivi Rebecca. We can remove the damage reduction with Vivi Rebecca as well. We can get a nice chunky attack boost with Roger, and basically with that, Bob's your uncle, see you later. Like, we have plenty of damage here to take out our boy BROOK. So that's going to wrap up the video for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt that like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit the big red subscribe button too, but guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!